When you came to Korea at first, what
Mm.
were some of the culture shocks you experienced here?
Low-key feel like everybody here is an alcoholic.
They have not a good in English, especially. Very few means, in my observation.
Oh, the language will be easy to learn since I watch so many K-dramas. There's this thing that they do. It's like this weird like hacking sound. It's so gross and I hate it. Please, let's stop that.
What's your name and where are you from?
All right, my name is John. I'm from the U.S. and Liberia.
Why'd you come to Korea?
I'm doing my master's here, so I actually used to not study, but I was working in Japan, and I worked there for around 4.5 years. And I studied abroad there for a year, and like I used to go between Japan and Korea, of course, but like before COVID, quite a bit.
As a foreigner in Korea, like when you first came here, how was that experience?
Very different visiting and living, like most places, right? So I don't know Korean. Living in Japan, I picked up Japanese, and I do speak Japanese. So then it was like really hard for me to adjust because I didn't understand anything. But I think people here are really accommodating and really nice.
When you came to Korea at first, what were some of the culture shocks you experienced here?
It was a positive culture shock. I think in Japan, like people are really kind. People are super kind and very respectful, but it kind of goes both ways, right? So it's like customer service is immaculate. In Japan, it's immaculate. You know, rarely ever are you going to get bad customer service. And let's say like convenience stores. So I was at the convenience store, and usually when I go to Japan, it's just like, a lot of people are very helpful. And, if you don't understand, they'll really go out of their way to help you. But when I was here in Korea, when I first came, and I remember I was getting a gift for my friend's newborn, and I was at the mall, and I was like looking like, what should I get? What should I get? What should I get? And one of the clerks working there, she talked to me in Korean. She spoke to me in Korean, and I didn't know any Korean. So then she just went into English, and like we had a conversation, and she was like, what are you wanting to get a gift for? I explained who I was getting it for and everything. And she took at least like 20 minutes out of her time just to help me find a gift. So I thought that was like a really, really positive culture shock for me for sure. But another culture shock, and I think everyone has experienced this here, is just the way things may move way too quickly here, right? In Japan, when you're on the bus, it's like super smooth. If you're on the train, it's really smooth. But out here, when you're on the bus, it is need for speed when you're on the bus. If you are not holding something, you're probably gonna fall down. And then I think what happened, when I first moved here, I went to IKEA. And to get from here to IKEA is like about an hour and a half, yeah? And so I'm on the bus, and in Japan, if you you hit the button, the bus driver is gonna wait for you to get off. But here, they're not waiting for you. So like I hit the button, I was casually just like getting my things, and within like a couple seconds, the door closed. I was like, well, next stop.
Do you speak Korean at all?
I'm learning. I'm learning now. I think I'm starting to get a little bit more comfortable listening.
You lived in Japan with no Japanese at first, and you lived in Korea with no Korean. What's the difference? No Korean in Korea and no Japanese in Japan. Like, what's easier?
No Korean in Korea is much easier than no Japanese in Japan.
So more people speak English in Seoul.
Yeah, definitely.
But still, learn the language.
Please learn the language.
Stop coming to countries and not knowing hello, thank you, and goodbye.
The simple things.
Come on, man. It's 3 words. What were some of the culture shocks that you experienced that were like just very shocking?
I actually did like a lot of research before I came. I did. Wow, should we start there? Let's start with that. I was gonna like get in there slowly, but no, let's start right there. So in Korea, there's this thing that they do. It's like this weird like hacking sound. I'm sure everyone has heard it if you've lived here. It's, as a foreigner, it's so disgusting to me that she sounds like you're about to vomit. And then oftentimes it's followed by a lovely little splat on the ground. It's horrible and I hate it. And if we could just change one thing about Korean culture, I want to be able to walk and not have to worry about somebody spitting in front of me. Not, oh, you're a foreigner, but like, no, let me just get this phlegm out my throat and just spit it anywhere and oh, whoops, there you are, And it's any age. Any age. A 14-year-old girl did it in front of me the other day and I was like, wow, it's nasty. It's so gross and I hate it. Please, let's stop that.
Any other culture shocks that you noticed that were just really just surprising?
This is like a bit of a random one that I've not really heard that many people talk about before. In the UK, we have like girl code, especially like in the bars or in the clubs. Like I don't know you, but if you look at me and those eyes are wide and you don't know that guy, I'm in there, you're my best friend, we hate him, he's
I'm going to get rid of him for you. I don't care who you are. Here, I tried to do it a couple of times because there was clearly some situations where there were some very uncomfortable girls with some guys who were not taking no, because that's something Korean men don't do in clubs. There's no such thing as no.
You were trying to help some Korean girls.
Yeah, I was trying to like just pull them away basically because we were a group of like 5 girls and there was these 2 short, petite little Korean girls who looked like, you know, you pushed them and they were going to fall over, you know, and I was like, I'll save you, right? This is girl code. It's not girl code here. They gave me the most horrendous am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Get the away from me look. Like, who the hell are you to come over here? That kind of vibe. And so I was like, oh, I'm sorry. In Korean, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. They were trying to get away from those guys all night. That did shock me because I was like, I'm not hitting on those guys. They're not it.
When you came in to like try and help them, did you speak Korean or like what did you do?
Well, I mean, in my experience, I don't really say anything. You know, you just sort of like pull them into your circle and then you envelop them in the circle. You know, it's very like non-verbal body language. That's why I figured it was going to work.
Do you think it's because you were a foreigner or it's just maybe that's how it is here?
I asked some of my Korean friends about it. They just don't do it here. It's considered like rude. I'm trying to save you from a potentially very, very dangerous situation. Like, I don't want anybody to get R-worded, thank you.
What did you notice about some of the differences between Canada and Korea?
Canadians really like to entertain at home. They like to have home gyms, home theaters, stuff like that. But Koreans like to go out and kind of do activities with their friends and whatnot. So I really enjoyed that aspect, yeah.
And why do you think that difference is there, like with the home culture and going out culture?
I think because Korea is such a small country, like the apartments and houses are very small and you kind of have to pack your whole life into, you know, 1 or 2 bedroom apartments. So I think, yeah, people are like, let's go out. I don't need to be at home.
So when you first came here, how long ago was that?
This is 2 years now, so I'm going on my 3rd year.
What was like some of the things that were culture shocks for you coming here?
When it comes to my ideals and fantasies about coming here, obviously you're thinking, oh, amazing, like K-pop. I hate to admit it, but that was kind of that was the perspective a little bit. And like, oh, the language will be easy to learn since I watch so many K-dramas and stuff like that. And then, you know, you get out here and you get placed in rural Gyeonggi-do and nobody speaks English at all. That was definitely shocking to me when it shouldn't necessarily have been that surprising, but yeah, it was definitely a shock.
And do you speak Korean?
Yeah, I've been learning for about 1.5 years now, so I can get by. I'm really trying to go for like the topic 3, topic 4, but fingers crossed for that.
그럼 한국말 할 수 있어요?
네, 할 수 있어요.
어떻게 배웠어요?
저는 한국 선생님이 있어요. 그리고 공부를 많이 했어요.
If you could give any advice to people watching, like foreigners watching, what advice would you give them before coming to Korea?
Don't just watch TikToks. Do your own research. If you're going to watch videos, I definitely think the YouTubers can give a more extended version, and I find a lot of the questions like that you ask are actually valuable to us living here. Learn more than how to just say 안녕하세요 or 감사합니다. There's a lot more vocabulary that's needed to live here.
When you first came here, like, did you experience any culture shocks or anything that was like, holy shit, this is totally different?
Smoking was definitely way worse than I thought it was going to be. And the drinking culture. Low-key feel like everybody here is an alcoholic. The morning after and like the before drinking.
Yeah.
Not that I do use them myself because they really are clutch. But like the fact that those exist are hilarious.
Maybe like, yeah, the drinking culture like we talked about earlier. But also, I don't know, like I thought maybe it would be really easy to like get along with Koreans because I'm in Korea. So I thought I'd have a lot of like Korean friends. But I still feel like there's some barrier that's not necessarily like a language barrier, but I just feel like some distance to them that I can't really explain that well. So that was one thing. And then there's no trash cans in Korea, so that's...
My name is Niaz and I'm from Lahore, Pakistan.
How long have you been in Korea?
In Korea about 7 years.
What would you say are some of the differences between like Pakistani culture and Korean culture?
The new generation has a different mixed cultures in like American, British, and Asian mixed cultures. But if we go in past, the Korean culture, I study about Korean culture a lot, and in Pakistan culture is a very, in our country, is very close. It's like hospitality for the guest and for New Year's ceremonies and food. In Pakistan and in Korea, there is China is attached with the two countries, and mostly the culture spread through China.
So you would say like the traditional values of Korean people and Pakistani people are kind of same.
Very, very close in old cultures.
When you came to Korea, did you experience any like culture shock, anything like that?
Especially we face a lot of problems, especially in foods. In our Pakistan, we actually the Muslim country. That's why we not eat pig and pork. That's why here is mostly dishes is in pork. That's why we have to first to avoid.
Is it very hard to find halal food here?
Actually, it's a very difficult because there is some Indian or Pakistani restaurants we have, but we can buy the halal foods. And in other way, we use specially some milk, fruits, and biscuits, and etc. When we have to be outside and not have a range to be get halal foods.
Do you speak Korean at all?
Almost good for communications and understand very good. Here is they have not a good in English. Especially very few means in my observation very few people can speak good English. That's why if you have to be some problems or understanding, then you should be have a Hanguk in Korean language.